And Republican Senator Bill Hagerty of Tennessee is with us now. Thank you so much for coming into the studio. We appreciate it.
It's good to be with you, Brianna. Thank you.
Okay, so how are you going to vote this time? And just more broadly, do you expect the vote count to mirror what we saw in June?
I think it certainly will mirror what we saw in June. This is just a show vote. It's just Chuck Schumer's attempt to bring an issue back to the fore that's not an issue. It's a problem looking for a solution. And it's not just about IVF. This goes much further into gene editing, into cloning. Chuck Schumer designed this to fail. But what he's trying to do is put this back in front of the American public so he can avoid talking about the issues that really do matter to Americans.
And Trump's promise doesn't change anything about how Republicans view this bill.
What President Trump has done is what every single U.S. senator has done on the Republican side. We support IVF. We have supported IVF. President Trump wants to take it even further. I think families looking at their ability to access and afford IVF will find under a Trump administration that they'll be even in a better place to do that from an affordability standpoint, because President Trump wants to make certain that whether it's covered under private insurance or public domain, that it will be taken care of.
I do want to listen to what he promised, because it is a little different, significantly different in one regard from what Republicans are promising. Here it is.
Under the Trump administration, your government will pay for, or your insurance company will be mandated to pay for, all costs associated with IVF treatment, fertilization for women, IVF treatment. Because we want more babies, to put it very nicely.
He's promising a mandate to pay for it either through private insurance companies or through publicly provided insurance coverage, which is something that, and Republicans, a number of your colleagues in the Senate have been very clear, this goes too far for them, especially as it harkens back to their traditionally fiscally conservative roots. This is something that kind of alarms them. Clearly, though,
what goes too far for me, though, is the notion that we would vote for something that would include cloning and gene editing, which is what Chuck Schumer plans to put on the floor this afternoon. Again, Schumer knows it's going to fail. He's just trying to shift the narrative away from the fact that 67% of Americans think the country's on the wrong track. We should be talking about immigration, the economy, our national security, our border security. Instead, we're doing this.
I do think the Democrats and the two Republican female senators who voted for this bill that you're talking about would maybe take issue with how you are characterizing it, although I can understand that you do have your differences of understanding what's in the bill. But to that point, it was two female Republican senators, Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, who voted with them, with Democrats on the bill in June. Do you think that they might know something about what conservative and moderate women, voters, the kind of voters that Donald Trump really needs to win over to end up in the White House, what those kind of voters want to see?
I think what those voters and what every voter wants to see across America is the fact that we do support IVF. And every Republican senator has made that clear, as you just saw President Trump do the same. And this piece of legislation, to me, again, goes too far when it gets into cloning and gene editing. That doesn't suit me, and it doesn't suit the vast majority of Republicans. Again, it's a solution in search of an answer. This is not illegal in any state of America. Chuck Schumer is just trying to change the narrative.
Do you think Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins see it that way that you're describing it?
I haven't talked to them about their particular vote, but I can say this.
Why not? Why haven't you spoken to them about it? It seems like they would be two people who would be very good to speak to about on this issue.
I speak with them about a number of things, but on this issue, I'm clear. And I'm certainly not going to go into this realm. And as I said, this is something that is not needed, a solution in search of a problem, because IVF is legal in every state, and every Republican senator has made that very, very clear that we support it. Again, for me, it's a bridge too far to get into cloning, gene editing, and doing away with state laws that have to do with medical processes and procedures everywhere.
There is something we hear a refrain from Republicans. They'll say IVF is protected. But we saw in Alabama, it's protected until it isn't, right? And there was a short but consequential interruption in that coverage. Can you see how families who are going through what is an incredibly financially costly, emotionally costly process of IVF want to make sure that there is not an interruption in their IVF care, because that's the kind of thing that can cost them thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and President Trump is trying to address the cost component of it, obviously, from his statements there. I haven't seen the details, but I'm happy to look into that. With respect to what happened in Alabama, we also saw a state legislature step up and move very quickly to address some uncertainty created by a court decision. So I think that's the way.
People in the middle of an IVF cycle.
Well, I think that they tried to do it and address it as quickly as they possibly could.
Do you agree? Trump has been, as you said, not completely clear on the details, but he's been clear on that it's a mandate, it would be paid for by private insurance companies, and that it would be paid for under publicly provided insurance. Do you commit to that as well?
I commit to taking a look at the details. I serve on the Appropriations Committee, and I will certainly pursue that responsibly. I understand the direction and the content, and I understand the desire to be pro-family, which I think all of us as Republicans are. But I think all of us would like to get off the topic of, again, a problem that's in search of a solution and get down to the real problems that are facing America today. And we're not talking about the economy. We're not talking about our border security. We're not talking about national security in the face of dramatic concerns. Again, Chuck Schumer is going to put a show vote up today. We should be looking at the fact that the government's going to shut down next week if he doesn't act on our appropriations bills. We're not. This, in my view, is just another irresponsible ploy to shift the narrative here in America.
Senator Hagerty, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rose.
And we'll be right back.